Welcome to VSum Tech Talk. Today we are going to see the step-by-step process of implementing the ML.NET packages to analyze the sentiment of website comments. The same scenario we have selected in the previous video and we have implemented by using ML.NET Model Builder, which is a UI tool. Now we are going to use the ML.NET packages and analyze the same sentiment of website comments which is provided by the customers when they visited the hotel and they provided their review feedback about the food, ambience, environment and everything. Now we are writing the code by using ML.NET packages and seeing how the code is going to be written in ML.NET by using the ML.NET packages. Scenario is analyzing the sentiment of website comments with the help of ML.NET. See the differences between Model Builder and ML.NET. In the previous video, we have used the ML.NET Model Builder, which is a simple UI tool to build custom machine learning model. So in the previous video, we just followed UI steps to complete the process and generate the code. Now in this video, we are trying to use the ML.NET packages to write the code for each and every step. Let's see what is the input we are giving for building and training and generating the code, right? So this is the input file where we collected the information like the review comments from the customers who visited the hotel and they given the review feedback about the food, ambience, environment, everything. Let's suppose a customer has given feedback like food is good. So that is the review comment they given that. So that is a positive feedback. In this file, there are two columns are there. The one column has the review comments provided by the customer and the score, which is nothing but whether it is a positive or negative. So like that, multiple customers has provided their review comments. All the comments we have gathered and collected into a file. This file contains all the review comments and the score of each and every review comment. So this file we are going to use as an input to the ML.NET and we are going to follow the steps. So this video clip is to generate the code with the help of ML.NET Model Builder, which we have followed in the previous video. So the same scenario, we have selected data we are giving as input. We are training that model and evaluating, finally generating the code. Here the only difference is that we are generating the code in the fifth step. That code is going to use to run our application. But in our current video, we are going to write the code for each and every step. Like creating a console application, preparing your data, loading the data, building and training the model, evaluating the model, use the model for prediction, and finally we can see the result. So these are the various steps which we are following with the help of ML.NET packages. Let's see how we are going to create the code. Let's create a console application. Go to create a new project, console application, select, click next, give the name like sentiment analysis, which we are doing right now. Click on next. Now we are going to create a new console application, which we are going to write the code for building, training and deploying that application. Now we have sentiment analysis is the console application. We are going to add ML.NET model packages. Go to that manage NuGet packages. Browse. Select Microsoft.ml. Click install. Now the required packages has been installed. So let's create a new folder called data. where we are going to store the data file there. Go to the program.cs file. We can see this file is empty. Add the required packages in the program.cs file. So this is the namespace which we are using, sentiment analysis. So inside that we have a simple class file where we are going to write the code in this method. Now create ML.NET context. You can see here the first step, we created a sentiment analysis project. Inside that we have a simple program.cs file class, where this class contains a method called main. In this main we are going to write our code. Now let's see, I'm going to create a new context because ML context is the starting point for all ML.NET operations. So this context we are using for all aspects of creating, consuming all ML.NET models. Now it is similarly equal to the DB context, whatever we are using in entity framework, right? The same way this is going to be a DB context. Now once we have the instance of ML context, you can load, transform your data, choose the best algorithm for your machine learning task, which we can use it for training your model. Now the second step is train the model. We are going to split the data, load the data. Before going to load the data, we should have the file, right? That file name is customer feedback.txt. This is located in our data folder. Under the data folder, we have customer feedback.txt file. So this text file contains the customer feedback and the score. The score which is represented by 1 is positive score. If it is represented by 0, it is negative score. Now go back here. Now we are going to use this ML context to load the data. Now here we are going to split the data into two different parts. One is for training the model, one is for testing the data. So that's the reason we have a method, object is used, train test data, a pair of data sets for the training and testing. Now whatever the data we are having, that data is going to be split into two parts with the help of this method. This load data method is used for splitting the data into two parts. Let's go back here. I have written the method. Now see, load from text file. This is the path where the file is located. We are selected and we are going to split the text file. We are splitting that train test split by taking that data and splitting into two parts. Right click on that, go to definition. We can see here there are two iDataView objects are there, interface. So test set, train set. So it is going to split the data into two parts. One is for training and one is for testing. So the data whatever we are loading, and it is going to store in a iDataView object. Now go back. Now in this step we have load data and then we are loading. Transform the data. Now this method is used, we are passing the ML context as input, and whatever the training data which we have splitted, that we are going to take it here and we are building to train the model. In this training we are choosing an algorithm. So ML context dot binary classification. In this we are going to use that regression algorithm, and then we are going to train the model. Evaluate the model. Now this method, evaluate method, is taking three input parameters. One is ML context, another one is the model which is going to use for to transform. Transform in the sense, suppose if the data contains any invalid data or missing data, all those values will be verified there in that particular section. So go to the evaluate model. We can see here we are going to transform the data. Whatever the data which we are passing here, test data, that is going to verifying and validating and removing the missing data, like that. So all the activities are going to happen in this evaluate method step. So we are going to transform the test data, and once the transform is done, then the output is going to store in the iData view object, which is called predictions. Now go back. Now we are going to use this model for testing. We in this step we are evaluating the data, right? So evaluating means we are going to transform the data and we are going to use the data for testing. So the first step is creating a context object, and once the context object is created, and we are going to load the data, and that the data is going to split into two parts. One is for training the model and another one is splitting the model. So once we got the data, the split training data, we are going to pass it, and we are going to choose the correct algorithm in the build and train model method. So that, and then the test data we are passing to the evaluate method, and this model is going to use for testing the model, and finally we are going to give the output. So there are various methods which we have written. One is using the use model with a single item. So we are going to evaluate a single item. So by taking a one sentiment, and we are going to predict the output here. For that purpose, we have written one method called use model with a single item, and the second method is use model with batch items. This is how these are the various methods which we have written and we are using in our main method. So now let's go to the Solution Explorer. We can see another file called sentiment data, which is nothing but we have the sentiment prediction. So where we are going to predict the data in this object, we are going to store it here. This is the file where we are having the input data. So sentiment text and the label, it is nothing but score. So there are two class files are there. One is sentiment data and the sentiment prediction. This is the input, this is the output where it is going to store. We have a data folder where text file is there, which we are going to take this and going to predict it. We have the program CS file. In this method, in this class, we have main method is there. Inside the main method, we are going to create an instance for ML context, and ML context is going to pass to load method to load the data by splitting into two parts, like one is for testing, one is for training. So testing data we are passing to build and train method along with the ML context, and once that training is done, then we are going to pass the test data for evaluating, and then finally we are going to use this method for evaluating and get the prediction. Let's run the application. Now you can see here, this is a sentiment. This was a very bad stick. So for that one, prediction is negative. In this way, we are writing the code with the help of ML packages in ML.NET. In the previous video, we were using ML.NET Model Builder for auto-generating the code. Now we are writing the code. Thank you.